Leave it to Christopher Nolan to truly make a film that'll leave a lasting impact on its audience. Oppenheimer's a movie that I've been looking forward to all year long. A lot of that due to the fact that Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors, definitely working today, but of all time. He's a true master behind the camera, and while some of his movies might not be all great, there's really only like one or two that aren't that great. He always delivers an experience with his movies. Plus you have the stacked cast across the board that literally just has talent on top of talent on top of talent. And also, going into this movie, didn't know much about Oppenheimer, who was this very famous person. And luckily for me, I learned a lot in Oppenheimer. This is a harrowing epic of a movie. But before we get more into my quick thoughts on this movie, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and comment down below what are your thoughts or expectations for Oppenheimer. But let's keep talking about the movie. One of the biggest things that I applaud Oppenheimer for doing is creating a real sense of terror and dread from the start. What could have been a by-the-numbers biopic turns into a movie that kind of feels like a horror movie. They don't package this movie in some lighthearted way, like there isn't a lot of levity to it. And it packs a real punch. Like I said, it's a movie that'll leave a lasting impact on its audience, mainly because it just shows how one thing that might seem kind of good to a lot of people working behind the scenes on their project turns out to be a real weapon of destruction, which they didn't know going into it. But I don't know if Oppenheimer as a person realized just how dangerous he was working on of a project. And Oppenheimer had a big life, and there's a lot of story to tell in this movie. You feel that with the 3-hour-long runtime, which I don't think it's worth sugarcoating. You can definitely feel how long this movie is. But it's definitely a movie that warrants its runtime. There's a common complaint with moviegoers where they complain about the length of the movie, and I feel like this is definitely a perfect example of a movie that warrants its longer runtime. Because there's a lot packed in here, but really all of it gets its time to breathe. And also, if they were to have left a couple things out here and there, the story might feel incomplete. There's some real haunting imagery in this movie. A lot of that is shown within the aftermath of the explosion, where Oppenheimer is really dealing with what he has done. The new world that he feels responsible for creating almost. The first hour or so had me hooked, and there's a bit of a dwindling period in the second hour. Not to say that it lost me, this movie never really lost me, but there were a couple times here and there where I really started to feel the runtime. But then after the first explosion, which is near the 2-hour mark, I checked the time and I realized that there was still an hour left of the movie after that explosion. And that final hour is gripping. The movie flashes back and forth between different timelines, with the future and the past coming together in a way that I did enjoy. And then when you get to that last hour, when everything is just built up to this moment and you're seeing everything fall out, the score is building and building and building, and you are just on the edge of your seat. I do have to compliment the score, which added so much to the tension building. I feel like this is going to go down as arguably the best score of the year. Scores are like characters in and of itself, but here especially you feel that. And one of my favorite moments of the movie where the score is really utilized, where they're building up to the explosion and the score is just ramping up. It's getting louder and louder and louder. And when you start to see fire, it stops and the movie just goes quiet. You can hear audience members around you breathing. It just goes dead silent. And that moment is powerful. It truly makes you feel something while you're watching the movie. And I also really liked how when they were building up to the moment where the big explosion happened, I mentioned how earlier they would go back and forth between the future and the past. But here they just really committed to engrossing you in the moment, really making you feel how heavy of a moment it is. Christopher Nolan, I feel, is a director known for his dramas, but I feel like we often forget that he does have a good bit of comedy in some of his movies. And that's no different for Oppenheimer. Like I said, there aren't very many moments of levity, but with the comedy, those are when the moments of levity shine. It feels natural though, it never feels like the movie is changing tones. The characters are well done here, but a lot of that is due to the actors elevating those characters. Cillian Murphy in the lead role is incredible, his performance is subdued, and he totally sinks into the role. An actor that I was a little worried about at the start, and for a good chunk of the movie, I wasn't know how I was feeling Robert Downey Jr. But in the last hour, he sold me on his performance and his dedication to it. There's so many supporting performances that really vary in how much of an impact they have on the movie. You have people like Josh Peck or Jack Quaid, notable actors that don't really have much to do in the movie. Then you have people like Emily Blunt and also Jason Clarke, who really surprised me. Those are actors that have a lot to do in the movie. And there's just so many characters and so much stuff going on in the movie. I could definitely see some getting lost. And even to that point, there are some key relationships that get lost in the sauce. They go a bit unexplored. Specifically, Cillian Murphy's relationship with the two women in his life. That's Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh. They get very little depth as characters. And to that point, whenever they would go to their relationships, you just don't really care for it. And so there are a couple nitpicks here and there with Oppenheimer. But for a 3-hour-long movie, I was hooked from nearly start to finish. I felt the length, but it was also fast-paced. Editing works really well with the score. I mean, Nolan's direction is just unbelievable. It's a captivating movie, one that tells such a scary, cautionary tale of how dangerous some very smart minds can be, what they can do with their power, creating something that might not seem like a big deal maybe while they're working on it, but when it's out in the world, it's a weapon of mass destruction. They build that sense of terror until the very last minute of the movie. The final 2-3 minutes are perfection. The best way to close out the movie. Everything comes full circle into a powerful moment. Oppenheimer is top tier Christopher Nolan. I'm gonna give Oppenheimer an A. I can't wait to revisit it for the years to come and just continue to sit with it and process it even more. But what are your thoughts on Oppenheimer? Be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. If you've seen the movie, what did you think of it? I want to thank you so much for watching this review, and again, if you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell so you don't miss any further videos. Look forward to my ranking of all the Christopher Nolan movies coming very soon, and as always, look forward to more videos and reviews coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.